Chapter 2135 The Enemy Within. He was caught off guard and exploded, blood splattering all over the room. Zhui was not polite at all and directly devoured his origin and ability. General Sterland. What's going on over there? What happened? As if hearing the commotion here, the voice on the other end of the communication device sounded a little anxious. Zhu picked up the communication device and said in the tone of General Stellan, "Nothing. Just killed a bug." "Really? That's good. I hope you'll increase your vigilance. If you spot any unusual individuals over there, please notify the Warzone Command Center immediately." Stulon agreed twice. However, after ending the communication, he sent an assembly order to all middle and senior officers of the 7th Army. Everyone gather at the conference center. This time, due to the news from the 32nd Army, his assembly order seemed more reasonable and no one doubted it. The fact that all the high-ranking officers of the 32nd Army had been killed could not be concealed, and the strong smell of blood soon attracted the attention of the patrol troops. When they opened the gate of the training ground and saw the scene of broken limbs and blood everywhere, even the well-trained soldiers couldn't help but vomit on the spot. This huge accident directly alarmed the entire Eastern Military Region. Bang! The head of the Eastern Military District was furious, but the matter was of great importance. Out of selfishness, he did not report it to the military immediately. Instead, he decided to handle it himself and find the murderer. What he didn't expect was that the same thing happened to the 7th Army not long after. In just one day, the commanders of the 2 legions and all the middle and senior officers were killed. This incident caused great panic in the entire Eastern Military Region. Finally, Bang couldn't hold it in any longer and reported the news to the military. Zhonglu is already having a headache because of Huashu Kingdom, but he didn't expect that there would be trouble inside the country. Thinking of Brad's words, Bang gritted his teeth and said, "National martial law. There must be an outsider who invaded here and killed our people. We must find this guy." Bang said, "Yes. But Marshal, I think this matter is a bit strange. Because in both incidents, those middle and high-level officers received orders from the Corps commander to assemble, and then they were all killed. Afterwards, the commander of the 32nd Legion, Huani, and the commander of the 7th Legion, Stullan, both disappeared." "What?" Zhonglu's brow bones stood up. The complexity of the matter was beyond his imagination. It was not as simple as an invasion. He had seen Zhang Yi's abilities before, and he knew that Zhang Yi was a person with dual attributes of time and space. But even so, no matter how strong he was, he could not make the people of the 2 legions listen to him and run over to be killed by him. What made his scalp tingle the most was that the defense system of the Wulwan Empire was very perfect. Any alien race appearing in the area would definitely be detected by the defense system. What's more, they had previously specifically designated humans as a dangerous race. As soon as a creature of that specific shape appears, even if it is just a monkey-shaped creature appearing in the sky or streets of the Wulwan Empire, it will be discovered immediately. If it wasn't Zhang Yi, then who was carrying out the killing here today? Zhonglu pondered for a long time, but still had no idea. After all, he was not a detective. His expertise lay in fighting and warfare, not investigating crimes. Immediately assemble all criminal investigation experts from the entire Wulwan Empire. I will also send military agents to assist you. We must dig out this nail and see who he is. In addition, the entire military is on alert, and no large-scale gatherings outside of public areas are permitted. A thorough investigation was immediately conducted within the Wulwan Empire. The death of all the senior leaders of the 2 legions was a huge loss to the Eastern Military Region. It not only brought about a loss of combat power, but also caused panic throughout the entire military region. Zhonglu was already wondering at this time whether this incident was done by humans. If that is true, does it mean that humans want to fight back against the Wulwan Empire? Even insects can bite people, right? In Zhonglu's heart, he could no longer completely ignore humans. In the Eastern Military Region, loud alarms rang out in all directions. An order was issued directly by the military district's top leadership, prohibiting anyone from gathering privately on a large scale for a period of time. The entire area was thoroughly investigated, first within the district and then throughout the city, with every household being investigated. For the technologically advanced Wolwan Empire, it would not be difficult to accomplish this because they also have mechanical life forms serving them. After all, every citizen in the empire is registered, and their biological samples are counted, so it is impossible for anyone to disguise themselves. So, the big investigation began. In the military, every soldier must undergo strict scrutiny. Zhu Yu now transformed himself into an ordinary soldier because a soldier's identity was the most common and easiest to hide. The Legion phalanx she was in had a total of 2,000 people who were lined up neatly on the training ground and then inspected. The biomechanical life forms sent by the military can strictly analyze their genes and irises. Blood was drawn from each patient, and an iris scan was performed. Zhu Yu stood motionless in the middle of the army formation. When a lizard-like mechanical life form came in front of her, it said coldly, "Please extend your hand." As it spoke, a disposable replacement needle tube blood collector extended from its arm. Zhu Yu stretched out her left arm expressionlessly, and then the mechanical life form collected her blood and performed an iris test. This process is ineffective for Zhu Yu, because the ability she used was not mimicry but body occupation. At this moment, she was occupying the living body of a lizardman soldier, and he would only die when she left this body. Soon, the inspection was over. The results of the mechanical life form analysis showed that Zhu Yu was indeed a lizardman soldier. After a series of inspections, no abnormal biological invasion was found in the eastern military region. When this result was reported, Zhang Lu and Bing Lihuan's expressions became even more solemn. We searched the entire area and found no suspicious individuals. Could it be that the other party has the ability to completely hide? The Wolwan Empire is full of surveillance equipment, and only in the residents' homes are there no cameras. However, even in the residents' own homes, the Empire has the power to call up the video content when necessary. Moreover, this monitoring is not just optical monitoring, but also has infrared detection capabilities. Even with the use of optical stealth technology, it is impossible to escape the surveillance network that covers everywhere. Bing Lihuan frowned. There's another possibility. The person who did it is among us. Chapter 2136 Buffet. A cold light flashed in Zhang Lu's eyes. He looked at her and asked, "Are you saying that someone within the Empire wants to rebel?" It's not impossible. During the long history of the Wolwan Empire, there were not many foreign wars because they rarely came into contact with other civilizations. But rebellions occurred frequently. The reason is simple. History is too long, and people in later generations cannot give up their immediate interests because of the profound history. The Olyuan Empire restricted the movements of its citizens and did not allow them to leave the country. Out of curiosity, many Wuluang people want to see the world above the land, so every year some people secretly make drilling machines in an attempt to reach the land. Moreover, in order to prepare for the day of its fall, the Wolwan Empire invested a large amount of resources into the military. The Wolwan Empire had a total population of 27 million, and the number of soldiers and related personnel in the army reached 1.4 million. This astonishing military expenditure is bound to lead to dissatisfaction among ordinary Wolwan people. What's more, there are the high and mighty royal families here who can enjoy life resources far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. The so-called national justice and rumors of Doomsday have become lies fabricated by the royal family and other interest groups in the eyes of later generations in order to ensure that they continue to enslave ordinary citizens. Zheng Lu's face was full of annoyance. Nowadays, war may break out at any time in the outside world, but problems arise internally first. Who can remain calm? This matter must be suppressed as soon as possible. The ordinary lizard men must not be allowed to know what happened. Investigate. Thoroughly investigate. No matter who did this, or how many people are involved, once verified, they will all be executed. No mercy. Zhonglu issued the strictest orders and gave the military's Special Investigation Department extremely high authority. But they didn't know that the instigator had already sneaked into their military camp. Zhu is not stupid. Although she was born not long ago, she received the most elite education in Blizzard City. Zhu Zheng knew very well that a person with great strength but no brains could not survive on the battlefield. Therefore, he and Li Lingxue taught Zhu Yu many rules of survival on the battlefield. Simply put, in addition to the essential skills of special forces, there are also 8 rules that must be strictly followed. That is, to achieve the goal, use any means necessary. When killing humans, Zhu Yu still felt a little uncomfortable. But killing lizards, she felt like it was like having an unlimited and fun buffet. So, after finishing the inspection during the day, she started hunting again at night when she and all the officers of the troops were required not to act on their own in the barracks. Zhu Yu's taste is very picky, and she is too lazy to kill low-ranking soldiers. However, if they are mid-level or senior military officers, then they are worth hunting. Because the physical fitness of lizard men is inherently stronger than that of humans, a well-trained lizard men warrior, relying solely on physical strength and weapons, is enough to rival a human mutant with an ability index of up to 5,000 points. The hunt for Zhu Yu is very pleasurable. In the quiet night, the officers here were also on guard. Unfortunately, facing an alien with extremely complex abilities and an ability index of up to 25,000 points, they had no power to fight back. Late at night, in the military camp, the corridors of each barracks are equipped with infrared monitoring equipment. Every time Zhu Yu devours a lizard man, he will gain the memories in his mind. Therefore, she already had a detailed understanding of the lizardman's surveillance network and knew how to break it. There's no way to use surveillance to explore underground, so I'll just hide underground. She slowly sat up from the bed, glanced at the beds around her, and chose not to touch those ordinary lizardmen soldiers. Instead, she rushed to the ground like water, and then melted into it without a trace. The ability of Earth Escape comes from a captured alien from the outer city. Although his strength is very weak, his ability is very useful at critical moments. It will not damage the Earth, and no traces will be left when burrowing underground, allowing for complete penetration. According to the memory in his mind, Zhu Yu came to the room where an officer lived. Less than 10 seconds later, she used Earth Escape to reach another officer's room. Silently, as if nothing had happened, the officers died while they were still asleep and didn't feel anything. It was like the Grim Reaper was calling the roll, one after another. The next day, it was dawn. When the troops began to assemble, none of the officers with the rank of major and above showed up. This strange scene left the soldiers at a loss. It was not until their guards went over and knocked on the door that they were shocked to find that the person on the bed had turned into a dried lizard. The blood and flesh of the entire body were squeezed out, leaving only a dry lizard skin. Aha! This horrifying scene made the guards scream. The troops then realized that something was wrong and began to look for the officers one by one. As a result, every time they opened a room, they would see a corpse lying peacefully on the bed. That's right, there was no sign of any struggle, as if he was killed by a nightmare in his sleep. The news quickly reached the military headquarters, and the Supreme Commander of the Eastern Military District, BAM, drove there in person. At this time, the Special Investigation Department of the military headquarters had also arrived. After they inspected the scene, their expressions were extremely solemn. Investigator Lovok wore a pair of white gloves and personally examined each body. In the square, more than 100 bodies were covered with black cloth, looking particularly tragic. When Bang got off the car, the corners of his mouth were trembling. These officers are the core of their army. The loss of these people may cause huge problems in the command of the entire legion. What the hell is going on? Why is this happening? Bang roared angrily, his eyes bloodshot. If I find out who did this, I swear I'll torture him to death with the most cruel punishment. Lovok frowned and said to Bam calmly, "The opponent we met this time is very tough." The barracks were patrolled everywhere, and the surveillance system had no blind spots. Yet, these over 100 people were killed without any resistance. It can be concluded that the murderer must be someone with special abilities. But his expression became extremely serious. How on earth did he accomplish such a horrific act? If we don't figure this out, even more people will die. Stay with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.